Coach, got to settle the weekend rotation. Kind of where are you in the process, and who would you say the candidates are for the weekend rotation?
Friday night, Ethan Small, TBA, TBA, TBA. So hopefully we're a little closer to finding that out today, tomorrow, the next day. I got a good idea, but we still got to figure out some things on the field and see who comes back. The positive for us, we have some really good candidates. So there's some competition going on. Right now, Ethan Small, he's done it. He's been there. He's been one of our best all year, leader of our pitching staff, and so I feel confident about him there. But after that, we got to figure it out.
This team's had a really good double play combo last year, and you don't have the luxury of either of those guys being back this year. Where is the shortstop and second base race right now, and where are they defensively particularly?
There's a lot of competition there, and it's a really good question. It's probably one of our biggest question marks going in because we did lose probably 100 RBIs in the middle, but also two guys who could really defend it, and that really defend it happens at the end of the year. Seems like on those hard fields it makes a difference. But Jordan Westberg's been at short all fall, early spring. Looks like the leading candidate for our shortstop position. Has really played really well. Just emerging as one of those guys, has a chance to be a high-level talent. Still a lot of work to do, but I'm excited about him. And then we have some competition going on at second base. I mean, Gunnar Halter's a JUCO transfer, high-level player, and Landon Jordan's a very talented freshman who's in that mix. And we're even flipping Tanner Allen in and out of there some to see if it gives us some pieces that we can move some guys around. So there's a lot of competition there, but we have a chance to be pretty good there too.
Going back to the pitching rotation, what have you seen out of JT Ginn, and where might he factor into that?
JT's in that competition for the weekend. Very talented freshman, obviously. We know that. Had a really good fall. He's playing a position, too, so he's bouncing around, swinging the bat. He's an ultra competitor is the first thing I'd always – even though he has a great arm is what we'd say about him. But he's in that mix. I mean, we got to see how he comes back, pitches, and then kind of go from there.
Where are you at catcher? Just some of the guys that are in the mix back there. I know you got to be breaking in some new guys back there too.
We do. We have. We're fortunate. I mean, we have a lot of depth there. Dustin Skelton is back from last year's team. Marshall Gilbert's back from last year's team, and then we have two freshmen, Hayden Jones and Luke Hancock, and very talented players. So we're trying to figure that out. There's a mesh in there of trying to see, where we are. I'd say Dustin's been a little ahead this year just from his experience side, but I see all of them playing at some point in time, trying to figure out. One thing that you don't see in college baseball a lot is we have a full-time catching coach. So having Coach Cheese have the ability to work with our guys day in and day out as a full-time college catcher, I think has been a huge piece. I think our kids will say that, and I think we'll be much improved in that area, even the guys that were returning from last year.
Coach, Elijah's done a lot, especially last year, how you developed. But just talk about defensively. I understand he was honored for that with that yellow jersey. Just talk about what he's done, what you've seen out of him on the defensive side in the outfield.
I've been surprised since the fall. He is a above-average defender out there, and that's been the biggest piece. He's a good thrower. For a big kid, he moves around really well. He took one over the wall and brought it back yesterday. That's why I got the yellow jersey. But he's worn it many times, and I think one of the strengths of our team is our outfield defense. I mean, obviously we know Jake's really good in center, but Elijah's like I said, it's pretty dang good out there. And then Rowdy Jordan, he's the guy who was an infielder and moved out there, and Rowdy is getting better every day too. I mean, Rowdy's a really good athlete, so he covers a lot of range.
When you have a team with as many sophomores as you have, and you weren't the head coach here last year, is it difficult to evaluate how big a jump they've taken from freshman to sophomore when all you've seen from them is what they've done so far? Right,
and you see what they did last year a little bit, just watching, but I wasn't with them day to day. I tell everybody the key to our team, the key to our success this year will be, does that group of sophomores make a step forward? And I think they will. They've had great years to this point. They work really hard, but to the Tanner Allens, Justin Foscue, Jordan Westberg, Rowdy Jordan. I mean, some of these kids that, had good years and big pieces, but can they continue to play like they did at the end of the year? And was that their evolution, of going through the season? And that's probably why they started a little slow. It's hard to win here with a lot of young kids. I'm no genius, but I know that. And so them, as they got older, they played together, they acclimated better, and you saw it at the end of the year.
Hey, Coach, we were talking to Spencer out on the field, and he said that he was feeling good, feeling healthy. How do you anticipate? You anticipate just throwing him into the fire in the back end of that bullpen, and just Spencer's role in the back end of the bullpen? I guess what's kind of your thoughts on that and where it stands right now?
Spencer's, that's one of our big question marks, and what I want to make sure we do is we have him for the last 2 months, and so we'll probably be a little cautious with him. I know he's an ultra competitor and a bull when he's out there, but that's as you're coming back, is it best to be thrown out there at the end of the game? And those innings, those stressful innings, put more on your arm than anything. So we're going to try to ease him back. That doesn't mean you may see him. I say that, and you may see him opening night out there, depending on how those next 3 weeks go. But he's not taking a heavy load right now. We're kind of slowly getting into it.
Hey, Coach. Gunnar Halter was regarded by scouts for his arm, but he really wanted to play a position and hit. How has he adjusted to going there full time? And you mentioned him competing for second base. I guess from the time he got here to now, how far has he come? He's
come a lot. I mean, he's had to all fall. He played short, so it was him and Westy out there at shortstop. And then as we got to the end of the fall, we said, all right, now we need to probably make us, because he hasn't played as much short as second base, so he's kind of all the angles, all the things that you have to. A second baseman has to do. Great first step, getting to first. You just got a lot of responsibility as a second baseman. So that's been his biggest growth. I mean, and just working on him offensively. He's got a chance. He's got a really high side. I mean, you don't see many. I mean, he's probably 6'3". I mean, big athletic infielders that, and he moves around. He's 95 mile an hour off the mound if he wanted to be. So he can do a lot of special things.
Not a lot of college ballparks have luxury condominiums in left field. I knew you knew what the dude was going to look like when you took the job, but now that you've actually been able to practice on it, see it come to fruition, what is that like as a coach?
It's great. It has been it's amazing. Some days you walk out there and you're just like, if you're having a bad day, you walk out there and you say, man, I'm one of the lucky ones, because it's unbelievable. And once we are able to get inside, it is as beautiful inside as it is out. But it gives us, the best part about here to me is, the ability to practice, the ability to work. And we have the field, we have the Palmero, we have the stuff underneath. I mean, just to be able to get our guys their work is, a coach, a lot of that goes away. You don't notice the condos after. Now I'll probably notice them day one when we're out there playing, but you just have that ability to be able to work has been the best part. And it's beautiful.
Coach, Cole Gordon hasn't swung the bat since 2017. Talking to him today, said he's looking forward to that. Had to talk to you about being in that DH pinch hitter role as well. How does that square with the use of him also in the relief role pitching?
Is that Cole Gordon?
Yes.
Yeah, we've kind of – I don't know if he told you. We've kind of taken him out of that for now. He's just pitching at this point. So he did it in the fall just to see where he's at, but right now he's kind of – we're working him there. We could use him later in the year if we needed him to, but I wanted him to focus more on the pitching as we get it to the start of the season.
Coming in as a first-year coach, how do you manage the expectations that carry over from last year's club?
We've talked about things. I mean, we've kind of put last year to bed in some ways. I mean, the kids will always have that memory, always have that experience, but it's a new group. And hopefully we pull from those experiences and that tough times they went through. But it's been about coaching this year's team. I mean, believe it or not, when I took over at Indiana, I took over a team, but most of those kids have been to Omaha too, and the best time during that program's history. And our goal and our talk is about continuing and adding to the legacy. And, one of the biggest things with us is maybe being a little bit more consistent. I'm excited about how we start our season, and I want to be good start to finish. And that's a big piece of building this program.
You talked about how freshmen last year, they started off slow, and then they got better at the end of the season. One of the freshmen who started out fast last year was Josh Hatcher, and then towards the end of the season, he was struggling a little bit. What's his role going to be on this team this year?
Man, he is he's had a good spring training to this point. He's swinging it well. He's very talented. Could play some first, could play some outfield, could DH, just do a lot of different things. He's pretty versatile, so we kind of got him bouncing around, and I don't know if it's just this time of year he likes to play, but he's been really good since we've been back, so I'm hoping we can continue that on. And he learned a little bit from last year, I think.
Coach, a lot of talk about the left field lofts. What does that do to the ballpark and how it plays? What does that do as far as your power numbers?
I wasn't here last year, so I didn't know what it looked like without it. But the guys in the fall felt like the ball was carrying better. But now we're back in the spring. It's kind of a different wind. So we've had, and the weather's been a little crazy. So we've had it gushing out the right, gushing out the left. Some days it looks like it's going to right and it's swirling. So we're still in the process of figuring that out. But in the fall, we felt like the ball carried a little better. The kids did, at least.
Coach, you were here listening to Jake's press conference as well. Having a guy like that who's been here for now his senior year, is it almost as a first-year head coach, having a guy like that almost give you a little bit of sense of ease? You know, what has Jake done for your transition?
You know, he's been great. I lean on Jake a lot, and you see it up here. He gives me goosebumps when he talks about the M/S. That's the thing I get from the players more than anything, is how much it means to be a part of this program. And you see that from Jake, and he has had an experience here. It's been a lot, and but man, there's nobody else that loves this program more than that kid. But it goes for all our kids, and so I lean on him. I talk to him. We kind of go back and forth. It could be as simple as, hey, tell me about the shades. This morning we were talking about the sun and how the sun's setting, because he played so many games here, and you know, being a mentor to our young kids, man, how lucky we are to have him in the lineup, but also for all the young kids in our program to see how he goes about his business. I've coached a lot of great kids and a lot of great workers, but in between those two lines, it's as hard-nosed as you'll ever see, and that is in practice. I mean, he dives 10 times a practice in BP, and he doesn't know how to play at half speed or 75%. He is 100% every day he goes out there. And for a coach, when you're All-American, has that attitude, it's a blessing.
Just a follow-up on Halter, do you have any anticipation of putting him on the mound, letting him pitch some, or is he
No, he's just a position player for us.
Okay. And a question about JT Ginn. I mean, similar to Jake, Jake had the opportunity to go pro, and he had a couple years to do that. JT decided to turn down first-round money. How have you seen him embrace being a college player and experiencing college over going pro at his age?
Yeah, JT's situation is obviously unique. Very similar to like Jake. Man, JT wanted to be at Mississippi State. He made a conscious decision, turned down some money, but is so confident in his ability to be able to come in here, produce, and then, hopefully make it better and move into pro ball and be ready. The maturity level for JT's been like any other freshman. There's, hey, I got to get up on my own and go to class and take care of myself and go through the rigor of a college student athlete is not easy. So it's been a good experience for him. He had a great fall. He's a tremendous kid, a great teammate, and really he stays away from the limelight a little bit. He just wants to be one of the boys, which I love seeing. So it's been fun watching JT, and it'll be a lot of fun watching him out there on the weekends.
You mentioned Coach Cheese earlier. Where have you seen the immediate returns on such specialized training with catchers?
Just, I think receiving day in and day out, things that we don't see, just as actual, getting a pitch here, getting a pitch there, talking to our catchers in the middle of the scrimmage, seeing small things, the details of catching, the signals, and communicating with, there's such a communication between your pitching coach, your catching coach, and the catcher and the pitcher during the game, and how they communicate and how we're setting up and different things that way. Just very small things that probably day in and day out, things that I don't see. I'm in the dugout, I'm watching the game, and he's sitting there throwing his hat on the ground like, what happened? And he's just, we just missed a pitch. We just, he sees it probably a little bit better than most of us because he sees it through the catcher's eyes. That's why catchers make great coaches, because they see all. You look in the big leagues, a lot of those guys are former catchers because they have a different perspective on the game, and he's done a great job with them.
You talked a little bit about Spencer earlier, but having a guy like Riley Self, who has also had experience closing out games, just how do you plan on using those two? And do you think having Riley is going to help Spencer kind of keep his arm fresh, a little bit more fresh?
Those are the pieces. I'd really like to have some bullpen roles as we get into it. It's just so early for us; we don't know exactly. Riley could close. Riley didn't pitch a ton this fall, so we're hoping we could get a good spring training out of him. For me, as you run Riley out there, Riley's one of the few guys right now that we feel like we can run out there in a dirty inning. In it, first and third, one out. I feel pretty comfortable giving the ball to Riley Self that he's going to make somebody hit a ball and put the ball in the zone better than a young kid. He could finish at the end of the game. I think the piece of Spencer, Cole Gordon, and Riley is huge. And then we're trying to find that. The piece for us is who's the lefty in that mix. So we're really trying to figure out, we have some candidates there, trying to figure out who that left-hander is that can come in and just pound the zone with strikes. They hit it, but we're going to make quality pitches and make some people put the ball in play.
Denver said he's really working on transitioning from a thrower to a pitcher. What role do you see for Denver, and how has he improved?
Denver's at that back end too. Denver's one of those older, more mature guys. I think the command piece with Denver has been much better. We saw that in the fall. I watched one of his bullpens the other day. He's been just a lot more in the zone and making pitches for us. But he's probably in that back end with those handful of guys.
Obviously, a lot of focus on JT as the true freshman go, but who are some of the other true freshmen you think can make a contribution this spring?
We got Landon Jordan is one, the two catchers, Hayden Jones and Luke Hancock. You also have, on the mound it's JT, but we have a freshman from Canada, Eric Sarantola, has a chance to get some really quality innings. We have a chance with, Brandon Smith's another freshman that's in the mix. I mean, we just have a Bryce Brock. I mean, I could roll through them that'll have some significant roles. And then we have a really good group of some transfers and JUCO players like Gunnar Halter, Jack Egan, Colby White, some guys that could really help us out. And when there's others too, but it's just giving us a chance to give us a little more depth.
Jake, at this event last year, you said one of the main reasons you came back is 0 for 2 in Super Regionals. Well, now you've got one, so what's the new goal for this team?
Well, the goal right now is to be ready for February 15th, but still win a national championship. It's still that one thing missing about our program. But that is the ultimate goal. But we need to be ready February 15th and not wait till late March to get going.
Now, this time last year, you guys had a shell of a stadium. It was sort of functional. I had to start the year on the road and all that stuff. Now that you don't have to worry about that, and you got a great new stadium. How do you think that will affect your start to the season?
It definitely helps. Today we're about to get live at bats on a baseball field. Last year's team wasn't able to do that practically all year. So, being able to get out there with the team, have team practices on the field with the pitchers involved, the outfield involved, the infield involved, to all come together, it's going to help a lot.
Obviously, the lasting memory of Mississippi State baseball from last year is making it to Omaha, and that's no small feat. That's something to be proud of. But how do you guys balance being proud of that? And, that's what the 2018 team did, and now the 2019 team's trying to do the same thing. How do you balance that?
Well, this team's full of older guys. We have a lot of old guys and a lot of young guys that haven't really experienced, the battle of a 10-week SEC schedule. And the best way to put it would just be my first 2 years here, losing and going 0-2 in both super regionals. That kind of stuck with you. It was something like it was the hill you couldn't get over. And then instead of looking back and thinking what last year's team did, think about what we didn't do. I mean, we were 3 wins short of a national championship, second best finish in program history. As awesome as it was, there's still more. And however we can do that, we're going to try to do it. Coach Lemonis he's asked a lot out of us. He's asked, just come in every day, get your work in, and be the best students we can be, the best people we can be, and we bought into that. Like we're all bought into it, and we're all pulling on the same side of the rope. We just got to get it going. We're less than 3 weeks now. Yesterday was 3 weeks, so it's time to go.
Last year, y'all benefited greatly from a really good double play combo. Neither of those guys are here anymore. Where are y'all defensively in the middle of the field?
Defensively, the guys are putting in tons of work. We got the outfield back. So that's awesome, but we got 2 guys up the middle right now that I think are doing a great job. I think 4 guys up the middle that are doing a great job. You see them work every day, and where they were at in August compared to now is light years ahead, and they're starting to click, and it's really fun to see new guys come in and do that. You see the older guys put their arm around them and tell them what to expect. It's just weird that you see that 3 years ago, except I was in those guys' shoes. And time here it's very valuable, and everyone's going to be ready. I can promise you that.
You've got a lot of records that were within reach for yourself, at this school and in the SEC. Did that factor into your decision to come back, or is it more just about the team right now?
As fortunate I am to be in that position, that wasn't a factor about coming back at all. have third year. This will be my third year of being draft eligible. You know, that's not going anywhere. But time here, like I said, is very valuable. And like it or not, this is my last year, and you know, that wasn't a factor about coming back. You know, but we get one more crack at it. We'll give it all we got.
Jake, going off of that, during your time here at Mississippi State, you've had plenty of ups, plenty of downs between coaching changes and deep runs and things like that. When you maybe take a look at it now as a senior, and if you're able to, before the season, snapshot your career at Mississippi State, you know, what left do you feel like you have to go through here?
It's been a roller coaster, but the one constant we've had here is winning. You know, I was committed to Alabama for a year, decommitted, committed here. Why? Because this is the pinnacle of college baseball. This is like, it's Mississippi State. Like, we wear this with the most amount of pride you can possibly wear it. And every day we come to the field, no matter what's going on around us, we're able to lock in and be in the present. And it's been the most fun I've ever had. I'm not ready for it to be over with, so we plan on playing as long as we can this year. But the one constant we've had is that brotherhood in the locker room. Every year it's different guys. So this year it's a brand new team. Every year it's been a different onslaught of guys, but every year you just see this brotherhood come together, all because we take so much pride in wearing that. And it's our shield. It's unique to anything else, you know. At the end of the day, we're going to go out there and we're going to do everything we can to win. It might not happen. We might get beat 20-10, but we're going to bounce back the next day and win, you know. It's kind of the mindset we've had, and it's kind of embedded in us. It's what we go through since August. You know, it's been fun.
Jake, last year you guys just exceeded expectations. Now that you have some expectations going into a season, how do you manage those?
We do have expectations, but we also got a lot of doubters too. You know, a lot of people say last year was a fluke. You know, we call it lightning in a bottle. You know, it was. I disagree with it. I saw it just as a bunch of guys that weren't ready opening day. Finally understood what it took to win, and we're looking to do that now. 2018's over. That as awesome as it was, as amazing as we'll look back at it 20 years from now. This is a new chapter, a complete new chapter, a complete new locker room, a complete new stadium. Everything's new, and everything's going to be its own chapter. So we just got to get past that and be ready to go. And the coaching staff's done an amazing job with that. They've pushed us every day. The guys, like I said, are buying into it. You see it every day. Something else clicks, something new clicks. So, yeah, absolutely.
2 more questions? You know, outside of your teammates and you, not a lot of players in college baseball have 4 coaches in 4 years. Is that something that, you know, you can use as motivation, something you take from each guy? And also, as far as the program goes, do you feel like the program now with Coach Lamonis has reached a level of stability?
You know, 4 coaches in 4 years gets tossed around a lot. But like I said, you know, you play for what the program represents, and the tradition here, you never go out there at any day at practice or a game. Look, there might be some days where I don't want to be out there, feeling bad, whether, you know, it's a long day at school, long terrible test, you name it. The tradition here and what it means to play here is what kind of gets you through that. You know, I fake it till you make it. You know, some days, you know, you think about these guys that. The 85 team, the 16 team, the 13 team, you know, there's just so many moments that you think back on whenever you're not having that good day, but that's what you play for. I mean, if I talk to Burke Masters right now, what would he say? He would love to be out there today. He would love to be out there in a 20-degree game in the snow. He would love to go back out there and wear this one more time. So that's kind of what you think about. You think about the tradition here, the guys that would give anything to come back out here one more day, and that's what I think about. This is my last year, and I'm on, you know, the guys that might not play at the next level think about that. Like, this is all we got right now. So you just think back about what we've had here, and all the guys that would give anything to go back out there and play one more game, relive one more moment, you know, and that's what you think about.